Huh.
Hey folks, Dane here at Jonah Guitars, and we're going to get back on the 70s J-40 with the bridge removal and replacement, and the couple different cracks that I took care of. Actually, I took care of one crack. I still haven't done the back yet, and I want to show you it in the clamped up state, and then kind of back up from there. And I didn't get any footage of actually doing it. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so here we go. This is the top crack that it's also the brace was loose, and so this looks really wicked, I know, but I have pads here under the clamps, and I have a piece of grippy under the pieces of block holding the clamp up a little bit, and it's got very little tension on it, so I didn't do anything crazy. So you can see it didn't have any real tension on it. Okay, and rubber pads and all that good stuff. So just gonna get rid of that clamp. All right, this crack went all the way from the edge here and goes pretty much to the top of the guitar, but it's right up next to the fretboard, so you can't see that part of it. Wow. This is the one thing I hate about these clamps, that you can't let it go loose, you know. You can't let it go gradually, it just wants to pop. All right. Little tuner down there. So I humidified the guitar, and then I actually brought this crack together when I humidified it. So I know I brought this crack together to some degree. It's still kind of open, and the interesting thing about it is apparently that moved a little bit, and you won't be able to see there. Let's say it's still a bit open. I think it looks worse than it really is as far as that goes, but it's still a bit open. And it's got a slight little step on the sound hole. It's just slightly proud on this side. And all I can figure is that since it is cracked all the way up to the front, that this part, the neck, you know, actually shifted back a little bit. And that's why I got that step there. I don't think that putting it together more would take that away. I think it would actually make it feel worse or more pronounced. So here's what I did. I took the guitar, let me back out a little bit. Took the guitar and I just put it between my legs, and which you can't see anything there, but I'll just bring it up where you can actually see it. And so there was a gap in here, and I wanted to clean that gap out. Now I have before I re-glued. Hello. Before I re-glued, so I tried to put my little stick here. I got a really thin down stick with a strip of paper on it, but I couldn't get that inside there because there's a little finger, some sort of brace. Oh, it's the sound hole brace that goes right up there and butts into this cross piece here. So couldn't get in there with that, and I thought, oh, you know, I'll just wait until tomorrow, and when I'm at work, I'll pick up a set of tip cleaners, which occurred to me that I could get in there with some tip cleaners and just go down, because it's just a small section that I had access to. But I had kind of a dull, and maybe you can see that if I put it up against something. a dull inlay blade, and just got teeth on one side, one edge, and I put them so that when I pulled on it, they would be in a kind of a cut, and I just went down in behind the brace, and like a root canal, went in there, all the way down in the crack, in fact, down through, and inside had a mirror and a light in there. I could see what I was doing. Then when I put the glue in there, I did the same thing. I just basically dumped glue on top of the brace right here, and then forced it in with that little saw blade, and got it all down in there, and then did that clamping, and so that's together now. I want to set this thing up and get a couple strings over it, and then position the bridge to where I get the the perfect intonation on my E's, and then and so what I got to do that is make myself a little jig of some sort that will connect to the strap button and come over the back of the guitar. And there again, I'll pad that. But I know I made one, so I got something laying around here that's already partially jigged up for that. This bridge is slightly bigger than the old bridge, and I bought it that way on purpose because I wanted to make sure I covered all my edges, and I wasn't sure if I would have to push forward or pull back to get the intonation right. So I gave myself a little fudge room by getting the larger bridge. And so we're talking thousands. It might be 20 thousandths in one direction and like 10 on the length or something. So it's not a ton different. But anyway, hopefully enough that I can move it where I need it and it will cover the existing lines. That was my main concern. All right, so just in case you thought that I always think through every aspect of every build and everything, yeah, that's what I try to do. One thing I didn't consider was that the bridge on this J-40 has this big step in it, so I'm just feeling like it's heavier than it really is. It's like 3/16 of an inch. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to say, because it's not a quarter, it's closer to 3/16 of an inch. Most of the bridge is actually pretty thin like that. I think that's part of what contributed to it curling up. So I already have the other bridge taped down to the table, but just as a point of reference, it is the same thickness all the way across. It's the same thickness as this, the heavy side. So without doing a neck reset, this thing's going to have some crazy high action on it. So I've decided that I'm just going to do is I'm going to peel quite a bit of this thickness off. Now, since I'm going to have the thickness over the entire width of the bridge this way, front to back, it's certainly going to have more mass in the bridge than this bridge has. So I'm not concerned about taking too much material off the bridge as far as tone issues or anything that might arise from that. And I played it before, it sounded pretty good, even with the bridge coming off the thing. So I don't think that the mass of the bridge is going to be a huge thing here. And then plus, if you follow the logic through all of that, mass, vibration transfer, and all that kind of stuff, I think having the pins going through the bridge plate, through the top, are going to transfer vibrations and all that better. And I'm not 100% sold that any of that makes a bit of difference. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to thin this bridge out so that because I could put it on there at full height and set up my temporary string holder and then intonate the thing, but if I'm intonating the strings that are a 1/4 inch off the fretboard, when I do thin it out and get everything down to where it's going to be better action, then it's not going to be intonating correctly. And I don't want to try to guess on if I take it off this much, say I take 1/8 off the height of the string and bring the string action down 1/8, if that's going to cause it to go less sharp. How far forward do I push it then, or back, or yeah, so I'm just going to get the bridge where I think it's going to be really close to the height it needs to be, and then do the temporary string retainer and slide the bridge around. So that's what's happening. The existing bridge is ever so slightly thinner than the new bridge, and I just have this thing double stuck down to the bridge, or the bench here, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit it with a block plane and peel it, and follow the existing contour. The treble side of the bridge is a little thinner than the bass side, and the same on the existing, or the original. So I'm going to use this kind of as my gauge as to how far down that's going. Actually, the treble sides are almost exactly flush, and the bass side is a little lower on the original bridge. So and I was hoping that when I stuck this thing down, the grain orientation would be good, and I wouldn't be chipping going from this direction, so I'm not, so I'm happy. That needs to go down. The all of the chamfers on the string holes are gone now, but just barely. The number one string here, the high E, is not quite all gone on the chamfer. I already shaped the saddle, and what I had done originally, I actually marked it right at the top of where the bridge was, because I knew the bridge had to come down quite a bit. So that gives me an idea of how much I've taken off the bridge. I like that. I think I'm going to try that and see how it works. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sand this out. And I think I'm actually going to lower this treble side a little bit. Still a tad high over here compared to the saddle. To flatten that out some, I didn't leave as much of a hump as it had originally, because I just traced this originally. You can see there's quite a bit higher in the middle than it is on the edges, so it should be fairly parallel as far as if I wanted to match exactly what it was originally. I may still just take the ends down a bit and leave the middle up. We'll get that string retainer finished up and bring it back over on the other side.